Do you do that sometimes? And when you think to yourself, this is my sixth season at UNLV.
Yeah, it does kind of fly by. I think six is like, five is still on one hand, then you get to six, and you're like, oh, I'm really getting up there. So a lot's
And
happened.
do you ever think back to where it all started, the mindset, because the goal has never changed, obviously, it's continuing to build your hometown program. But um, now that you're entering your sixth year, do you think about those first few days?
Yeah, I try to reflect a lot and do a lot of different speaking things that require me to reflect, which is I think a really positive thing. And majority of the time, I'm like, wow, I really had no idea what I was doing, but at the same time, I've figured it out, maybe at least a little bit, and just really proud of what we've been able to do. Obviously, I kind of had big hopes and dreams for not just my personal career, but for this program in particular that, is dear to me. And so I think we're on our way.
People write out 5 year plans, 10 year plans. Has for the most part, has the 5 years gone as expected, better than expected? Have there obviously disappointments in early, right, losses in the NC2A tournament? But where, in terms of perspective of goals and where you'd want to be if you were to think back to a 5 year plan?
I think we're right there. I don't know if I totally put together a 5 year plan when I got the job, but I think this is pretty close. Maybe we achieved some things even earlier than I thought we could. The NCAA tournament and basically year two is pretty special to do it that quickly, but then to sustain that success, I think, that's hard and it takes a lot of hard work. And so now I think we're in a spot, I just am a believer in climbing the ladder and not just jumping from the bottom to the top, because then that's how you fall down. But if you climb it the right way, then I think it's a little bit more sustainable, and I feel like we've done that. So, now we're at the next level and we're at the next step where we want to continue to, feel like we've done a great job, but we've got more things to do, more steps to climb.
Those first couple of years, the questions always rolled in, including from me. What did you take from Tara? What did you take from your father? But at this point, you've established Lindy La Rocque's style. It's your program, it's your coaching style. But when you now run across being the hunted,
Yeah.
right, in the Mountain West, and being a well-respected West Coast program, what are the bits and pieces you're still reaching back and sort of taking from?
Yeah, I think I draw a lot on those experiences and journeys still, and different pieces as we do new things here, whether it was when I was a player or even as a coach, and now having Jocelyn on staff too, I think we've both tapped back into some of those, because now I've got someone that we live that together, and kind of sustaining our success and being where we're at. You know, I do have experience in that. It might have been a long time ago, or it might have been when I was a player. So, um, I recall different things and call upon those memories and experiences so that I can try to help prepare our team, and keep us where we want to be.
I think I take plenty of pride every time I hit the airwaves and your name comes up in that. Since year one, or after year one, and since then, I'm the only person that said Lindy La Rocque is not leaving. And everyone, because of the success, they said she's got Pac-12 roots. She's going to be next in line at Stanford. She's going to go here. She's going to go there. The big dollars will come. I said, no, she's not leaving home. I'm telling you, she's staying home.
Mm.
And you signed this recent contract extension. I've seen the details of the contract. It's not massive, but the incentives are there. And with what you're building, including a family off the court and roots in this community, how great does that make you feel?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, I'm really grateful for this opportunity, for the investment in our program from the university and administration and myself, obviously. And, like you said, there's a lot of things here that are hard to put a price tag on for me, for a young family and my parents in my hometown, so. Like a new contract is great, and frankly, that's what I need for to continue to provide for my family, that job security, that investment. And if anything, I want to show to the public, to our fan base, to everyone, to our recruits, to invest too, stay here, be here, come here, because that's what I plan on doing.
we've asked this to the football coaches that have come through here when the Raiders arrived in 2020 in terms of being able to bring recruits to a Legion or bring them to a game, show them around town, but say, hey, we have an NFL team here. Has it helped the recruiting process saying, we're the home of the 3-time WNBA champion Las Vegas Aces being in this same town?
Yeah, I think so. They're champions at the highest level. Players that we are coaching want to play at that level. And so just having that exposure, whether it's going to games, meeting a player at the grocery store, I mean, those things are just, they happen here. And, I think especially when it comes to recruiting, the next generation of players, Las Vegas is known as a women's basketball city and place to be. Not necessarily just for us, but because of the Aces and what they've been able to do and the success that they've had.
I asked Jewel this at training camp. People were talking about the career she's had, and they said, well, she got to play with Sue Bird and Brianna Stewart and NECA and Skylar and play under Noe. But I said, I asked her, have you taken time to give yourself grace that they all got to play with you in the same respect? You played along the Aguma K's, right? They're friends of yours. You played under Tara Vanderveer. Your Rolodex runs deep with some big names, even as a little girl growing up. Have you taken time to give yourself grace that they also know Lindy La Rocque?
I don't know if it's necessarily that, but I think, I am a product of my network and the people that I know and love and have been fortunate to be around, and I hold those connections very dearly. I think some of the things that sometimes are eye-opening to me are when people call me for advice, whether it's coaches and peers or friends. I've always kind of viewed myself as the young one trying to learn from all of my people that have helped shape me. And now, obviously, I'm coaching young people, but now that I'm getting calls from my peers or advice in what I do, I'm like, oh, wow, I actually have done this for a couple of years, and I do have advice to give maybe in some different situations. So some of those moments are a little just fun to feel of like trying to help someone else, the same way so many people have helped me.
Let's talk real quick about the program. Now, obviously, the next set of 5 years, right, going into the 10-year plan, you've seen it done, but at an established program. You've been a part of it at Stanford and then part of the coaching staff. What's the next step in terms of how UNLV's you've done your job in getting it to the tournament, winning the automatic berth, getting into the dance? What's the next step of winning a couple of games and eventually getting to the Elite Eight, getting to the Final Four, and potentially winning a national championship?
Yeah, well, I think, the next step is doing what you said of making this an established program. And I think we've done a pretty good job, the last 5 years. And so you have to hold on to it and you can't lose sight of that. And that takes a lot of work. And then as you continue to build on that, it is winning those games and, getting to the Sweet 16. Obviously, it takes great players and great coaches and great people, which I think we have. Continued investment from our university, from our fan base, as this landscape is continuing to change of revenue sharing and new media deals and markets and all of that. So some of that, isn't totally in my control, but what is the people that I bring here, the work that we put in, and the effort that we're going to put forth to continue to raise the bar. And I think that's what I'm trying to do, is raise the bar in everything, across the board, and hold anyone that touches our program to that standard of excellence, because it really takes everything and everyone, from tickets and marketing to obviously our players and our own team culture, the fan base, kind of challenging everyone to, you want to see us go there, then it's help us and step up your game, and let's all like make this happen, because it very well can.
Has that, you mentioned the financial resources, NIL, right? Being able to now open the books and say, okay, hey, we can funnel this, we can do that. Have you seen that in your 5 years? Is there more enthusiasm toward funding this program?
I think, the revenue sharing in particular is great for, I think we felt great support for our women, and people, philanthropists and people that have invested in UNLV and the department for a long time, I think have a new motivation to continue to invest in women and in our women's sports. And I'm happy to maybe be the pillar of that, to really advocate for that so that, as these new doors continue to open, that women aren't shut out, and I think that's what women's sports across the country are fighting for in all different, industries. That gender parity and the equal pay. It's not just a sports thing, but it's across all fields. And really, we'd like sports to lead, and not lag behind in some of that progress.
How far away is UNLV from having those McDonald All-Americans, those top players saying, I want to come to UNLV, and getting the number one, number two, or a top 10 recruit in droves here?
Yeah, I don't think we're too far off. I do think there's, a few more steps to take. And then it'll take a special young person to really and make that leap of faith and do that with us. But we're getting closer and closer. This signing class that we're about to sign, we've got 3 top 100 kids. And so we're not, some program that's like in the weeds that no one knows about. So we can feel that in our recruiting, just kind of the respect that we're garnering, really across the country, which we're proud of, and we've worked really hard for, but to really tap into that next level of recruits, we're right there knocking on the door.